Who is in the best 23 for the Sydney Swans this year? The Zero Hanger team, we've made our call and we're going to break it down for you line by line in this video. But before we do that, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We have plenty of footy content coming out for you this year. And for now, let's go. Sydney Swans, best 23. But before we get into it, don't forget that ZeroHanger.com is the #1 independent AFL news source for all your AFL news, trades, draft content, and now games. Check out our latest game, AFL Streakr. Test out your footy stats knowledge and see if you can get your name on the leaderboard. Alright, so here to help me break down the best 23 for Sydney, Mitch Keating, mate. New coach, but the list pretty much stays the same.
Yeah, I don't think you can expect too much else or different from the Swans heading into 2025. As you mentioned, Dean Cox at the mantle, but got the same players pretty much, and it's going to be another good year for him, I think.
Yeah, I don't think their list has not been the issues, just pretty much grand finals. So let's take a look at the defenders now for the best 23. All right, so starting from the back, we have Jake Lloyd, Tom McCartan, Dane Rampy, and then on the half back, Callum Mills, Lewis Melican, and Nick Blakey. So that back line pretty much picks itself. Big difference though this year is that Callum Mills will be there from round one or opening round.
Yeah, that's going to be the big plus for them, and how they use him is going to be interesting. Obviously, he had most of 2024 away, and their midfield still just took over, so they might get him down back a bit more than they might have expected to last year, which is can only really be a bonus for them. You're adding guys like Matty Roberts and Ollie Florin who have got on the bench, and there's plenty of run in there. The interesting one is going to be Tom McCartan. Don't see him not playing in the back line, but he's been training as a forward. It's kind of one to watch, but they just don't have the probably the depth in that part of the ground to be able to experiment with that too much. So expect Tommy McCartan playing fullback, Cal Mills, bit of back line, and as you said, yeah, it picks itself.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting to see Tom McCartan push forward if that happens. They might be playing some mind games over there. So, all right, let's look now to the midfield. All right, so midfield, starting with the main man in the ruck, Brodie Grundy, obviously, followed up by James Rowbottom, Isaac Heaney, and Chad Warner. And then on the wings, Errol Goulden, Braden Campbell. So that looks amazing on paper. That should be the best midfield in the league, right?
Hard to say no to that. Like the quality of talent, both at their peak and only reaching the peak of their powers when you've got young guys like Goulden and Warner still, maybe not at their best yet. Heaney, absolutely massive year last year. The Swans fans have, I guess, kind of been waiting for a little bit. Like he's been an All-Australian before then, but just as a pure midfielder, fantastic. And then Brodie Grundy's a big difference maker. When you talk about midfields, you have to include the rucks, and he's one of the best in the competition. So hard to see them beaten on paper, but as we saw in September, it certainly can be. So they're second, if not first, for midfielders.
All right, and the forward line, starting with the half forwards, Will Hayward, Joel Marty, and James Jordan, and then followed up by Hayden McLean, Logan McDonald, and Tom Papley. So this year, for Sydney to take the next step, you need a breakout season from either Marty, McDonald, or McLean, right?
Yeah, they're good without being great, aren't they? Like McDonald's still quite young, but this probably needs to be the year he takes that next step. And Marty led their goal kicking, and McLean serviceable as being a ruck option as well. So yeah, between those three, you want to be getting maybe 120 plus goals just from those three alone. 40 goal seasons would be great. One can slip down to 30, but you want the other one pushing up 50. So that's going to be an area that maybe takes them to that next step and gets them that one step further as they hoped for in 2024. And then for the ground level guys, perfect balance. You've got Will Hayward as that medium-sized, energetic one, Tom Papley, zippy small forward, and then James Jordan as that defensive pressure who can make opposing flankers accountable. So they've got, a nice mix. It's just about reaching that potential.
All right, and rounding out the best 23, we have Matt Roberts, Justin McInerney, Taylor Adams, and Ollie Florence. And then as the sub, we've got Harry Cunningham. So looking at that, probably Taylor Adams coming in for Luke Parker, essentially. Yeah,
he was obviously a bit stiff by the end of the last season. Like once he came in after his injury early into the year, played just about every game up until they had every single midfielder available when they were out without Parker and without Mills, and then missed Heaney for a little bit. So now that they lose Parker, he probably slots into that half forward role, midfield rotation role. Good experience, good leader. So hopefully he gets to cement his spot in Dean Cox's plans.
All right, so looking at that best 23 as a whole, as we said in the opening of the video, not a whole lot of change, but so who's stiff to miss there?
Names coming off the top of my head, Robbie Fox, probably one, can play kind of any role, and it's probably a good sub option for them. I think if there's a game where Harry Cunningham's not needed as a lockdown small defender, then they probably put Fox in as a sub. Angus Sheldrick will be pressing his case in midfield. Caden Cleary, another one. Sam Wicks pretty much missed the end of last season due to suspension after falling out into the VFL. So he's going to be knocking on the door a little bit there. I reckon keep an eye on Riley Bice, mature age recruit out of Werribee. Nice defensive flanker, offers plenty of run. It can have a pretty quick impact, I think, if he's given the chance.
Yeah. And for a team that makes a grand final, there isn't a whole lot of weaknesses apart from losing the grand final. But if you had to pick a weakness in that best 23, where do you think it lies?
Might be the key defenders. Like Lewis Malikan had such an important year last year and stepping up into that supporting role for Tom McCartan. But if they lose McCartan, or even if they lose Malikan, I think there's a bit of a hole there. Joel Hamling's played the whole first year in Sydney's VFL side as a forward. Aaron Francis probably isn't going to cut it. I'm not sure they've got the depth in that area. So we're talking about if injuries happen. So it's not...
Or if McCartan goes forward.
Well, yeah, if McCartan goes forward, but you'd think they'd swing someone back. So, it's kind of ifs and buts, but I think that is where it could fall apart for them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, thank you for breaking that down, Mitch. Let us know in the comments what you think of our best 23. Sydney fans, I know that it's been a tough run so far, but it's looking pretty bright.
Yeah, they'll be all right this year, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We have plenty of AFL content coming out for you this year. Catch all the latest AFL news at zerohanger.com and have a good day.